The small nation of Kuwait experienced a catastrophic event on August 15, 2009. This event became the deadliest civilian tragedy in the country's history, shaking the nation to its core. The incident left a deep and lasting impact on the Kuwaiti people, resulting in one of the rare instances where the country imposed the death penalty on a woman. Nasra Yussef was a 23-year-old lady who resided in Kuwait City with her family. She was married to her husband Zayed Zafira, and together they had 2 young children. Information about Nasra's childhood is limited, but it's known that she had struggled with mental health problems. Despite this, the couple had a comfortable life. Zayed worked to support the family financially, while Nasra stayed at home to take care of their children and manage the household. Both of their children had special needs and required more attention than Nasra could provide. She was often stressed and exhausted, which caused dissatisfaction in her husband. In Kuwait, it's legal for a man to have multiple wives, and Zayed decided to pursue this option. This decision made Nasra unhappy. She believed her husband was abandoning her and held her responsible for their children's disabilities. Nasra thought that he was marrying another woman so they could have healthy children together. In August 2009, Zayed revealed that he'd already picked a second bride. This brought all of Nasra's feelings of envy, frustration, and anger to a boiling point. However, despite her intense emotions, Nasra managed to keep her composure and did not resort to any violent actions. The highly anticipated wedding day had finally arrived, and a grand celebration had been planned. In Kuwaiti culture, weddings are typically segregated based on gender. The bride and her female guests are usually in a private tent, while the men celebrate nearby in another. The formal proceedings of the ceremony went smoothly without any problems. On that fateful night, the female tent was filled with over 100 guests who were dancing, eating, and celebrating with their loved ones. Regrettably, Nasra was still suffering from emotional pain and had thoughts of seeking revenge against her husband. She had prepared a sinister plan involving some gasoline she'd placed around the tent earlier that day. With several women and children inside the tent, Nasra began pouring the gasoline around the tent's edges. The scorching heat, which exceeded 120 degrees, meant that the tent caught fire quickly. The flames engulfed the tent, causing a stampede as panicked guests attempted to flee. Unfortunately, many of those who could not escape were trapped inside. It only took 3 minutes for the entire tent to burn down, resulting in the death of 57 women and children, with 90 more injured. The bodies of the victims were so badly burned that forensic specialists were brought in to identify them. The bride's mother and sister were among those who lost their lives. Immediately after the fire, investigators started looking into the incident. At first, they thought that the blaze may have been caused by defective electrical wiring or burning coals used for incense. But as they delved further into the matter, it became evident that it was no accident. The police identified 23-year-old Nasra as their main suspect. During the investigation, Nasra's maid, who was present at the scene, testified that she had seen Nasra pour gasoline around the tent. As a result, the police apprehended Nasra, who confessed to setting the tent on fire. After the death of 57 women and children, the public reacted with grief, soon followed by anger. According to Nasra's lawyer, public opinion may have influenced the outcome of her trial, with the verdict already predetermined by the intense public reaction. Nasra later retracted her initial confession and claimed that she only poured cursed water around the tent. However, the witnesses' testimony and evidence contradicted her statement. Nasra's legal case took various twists and turns while she was in prison. Under Kuwaiti law, the death penalty is a common sentence for murder cases, but it is uncommonly applied to women. Kuwaiti law also makes an exception for pregnant women. Instead of the death penalty, they are sentenced to life imprisonment after giving birth. In Nasra's case, She turned out to be pregnant with Zayed's third child. 2 months later, Nasra claimed that her husband's relative, who was a jail officer, had forced her to take medication that resulted in a miscarriage. However, no medical test was conducted to verify her claim. It is uncertain whether Nasra's pregnancy was genuine or if she had indeed suffered a miscarriage. Nasra's attorney hoped that her youth and mental state would render her suitable for a pardon. However, the court upheld the death sentence as a sign of respect for the deceased, their families, and the survivors coping with the physical and emotional trauma caused by her actions. On January 25, 2017, Nasra's hanging was conducted in private by prison guards.